What we call a problem is basically just we are not able to accomplish something that we want. We're not able to be who we want to be. We're not able to feel how we want to feel. When we live in this kind of world attached to everything and anything, something that we want is just within our reach, but we just can't get it. We find ourselves in heartache after heartache after heartache, problem after problem after problem, and we can never seem to gain our footing. It's always just one thing after the next. You're looking at a list of all your problems, and every time you check one off, you add two more. The problem with problems is they're just obstructions. They're difficulties. They're any situation that basically just gives you a lot of fear. Anxiety makes you hide, hold back from who you really are. So many people are caught up in their problems, and we all seem to be facing the same problems at the same time. If you ask your friend, they're probably feeling the same way. If you ask a relative who seems to have it all, they're probably feeling the same way. No matter how much money you have, you still have money problems. When we get triggered by problems, this causes us to be depressed, afraid, depowering ourselves, just living in a constant state of terror and fright, and incapable of creating the art that we want because we're just like freaking out all the time. Trust me, I've been there. I have the tendency to be very anxious. That is kind of like where my brain goes, is anxiety. I used to have such bad anxiety that it was hard for me to get out of bed. Literally hard to move. My body is so nervous, and I was holding so much fear inside of me that it was hard for my body to stand up or take a walk, because the function of moving just was so frightening to me, because I was in such like a fearful state that like I didn't want to get up, or I didn't want to even move my arm. I just wanted to do this with my thumb while I freaked out about my own life and watched how everyone's life seemed so amazing, and I was just like validating my own fear and basically making myself into envious, wallowing, searching for that sense of reward through the phone, or even just like misery loves company. I notice myself from like a third point perspective constantly, and that's just like self-awareness, I guess, but to a point where it's very, very meticulous. Like I am very observant of myself. When I am triggered, I tend to notice I am giving someone else power over me. Mostly everyone has money problems, and getting over money problems in the sense where they don't make you cripplingly anxious. Like, it genuinely scares me that we are all living in this type of world where we have to just strive to have a bunch of money, and then everything revolves around it. Other people's opinions of you, the way they treat you, it all has to do with how much money you have and how much stuff you have. And I always tried to see why. I always tried to give myself a reason to be motivated by money, and I always reached a dead end. And so I was constantly in this loop of like, maybe money would help me, and then I'd be like, well, no, it doesn't. But anyways, we all have money problems, and getting over money issues is recognizing that there are money worlds and there are non-money worlds. There are money games and there are non-money games. The money game is a game of success and failure, having enough versus not having enough, and that constant stride for more. The non-money game is not really a game though, because it's just being who you are. It's the pursuit of yourself. It's being close to you. It's learning who you are. It's trying to be more of you. That's the non-money game. You can't solve a non-money problem with money, with stuff, with clothes, with jewels, with coins, with anything related to money. You can't solve a non-money problem with that. If you take a look at why you feel like you need more money, or why you even feel you have money problems, what are you trying to get out of having more money? Are you trying to get more love? Are you trying to get more attention? Are you trying to get more security, friends, likes, fame, that dopamine hit? What is it that you are trying to get from more money? However you are personally giving away your power, just recognition of, oh, I'm trying to get more money and have more money because I want this person to love me. I want this person to feel like they made a mistake. I want this person to want me. I want this person to give me more attention. People just basically want to be self-fulfilled, satisfied, and secure, and that is a non-money problem. that is a non-money game. Trying to solve it with money never works, and that's kind of like the system of money. That's why money is so powerful over such a ginormous mass amount of people. That's why money is so influential, because everyone is trying to solve their non-money problems with it. And when we're troubled in ourselves in that non-money world, we basically go into a place of, well, I don't have enough. That's my problem. I don't have enough. So if I just work towards having more, then everything will be good. That's a logical way of thinking. The problem is that everyone has money problems. No matter how much you get, you're still gonna feel like you don't have enough because you haven't worked on the self and the non-money issue here at hand. If you were to tomorrow wake up to $2 million, it seems like all your problems would be gone. You would have the same amount of problems, not more money, no more problems. You would have the same amount of problems. And like when you have more money, like say you have like $2 million, $100 becomes your new $10. So when you're like, oh shoot, I have to save this $10, it's like the same feeling of when you have to save $100. The numbers don't really register as privilege or as success or as I have enough just because it's a bigger number. The fright is still the same when you're talking big numbers or little numbers. So if you really look at all your fears surrounding money, they don't go away once you have more, because you're still in that state of I don't have enough. So $100 becomes something you have to cling on to and feel like, oh my god, I'm so scared to spend this, and like blah blah blah, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, instead of that $10. It's just kind of bizarre how we all think that one day everything will go away if we have more money, but then like we have the more money, sometimes in some cases we do actually get that money, and then we're like, oh, why do I still feel this way? And it's almost like the problems become louder, the inner problems become louder, because you're like, I thought money would fix this. So basically when you place your identity on how much money you have versus how much you don't have, and then you give people with more money more power than you, or you assume that they know more than you because they had to have known something more than you because they figured out how to not have money problems. You're just basically telling yourself that repeatedly, then what do you feel like? You feel like you're not enough and you have to get more, and you're not good enough as you are, and you're in this like constant state of sadness. And that is what the money system was basically invented for. Like, think about it. Why is it true that no matter how much money you have, you still don't feel like you have enough? Because that's what it was made for. That's why it has such a mass amount of control. That's why it's so powerful. The thing is, it can't have that power over you unless you give it to it. Unless you give your power away to money, money can't take your power from you. So take your power back. Instead of being attached to money and stuff and other people's opinions of you and other people's appreciation of you and other people's opinions of how much money you have, instead of being attached to all of that, whether they like you or don't like you, notice that you can't get from money what you have to get from yourself, and be attached instead to yourself, to trusting yourself, to knowing things about yourself, to being close to you, instead of attaching yourself to the opinions of others, the appreciation of others, the view count, the likes that you get on Instagram, all of these things. The list could go on and on and on and on. Money is just only one tiny aspect. But instead of giving your money to things that come and go constantly, no matter how much success you get or how much success you don't have, instead of attaching yourself to that nonsense and miserable mess and nightmare, attach instead to yourself and watch as everything literally feels so much better. Like, since I've been putting these types of things into practice, I have felt the depression physically leaving my body. It used to be impossible for me to do anything on a Saturday. Like, I used to be like so stressed out from my week and like trying to just like cling on to any form of relaxation I could possibly have. But now I do stuff on my Saturday. Now I live my life. Now I do things after work. I have energy because my energy comes from me. My energy is because I am life, and I am energy, and I am the source of all of it. And instead of attaching myself to the whirlwind of the outside world, I can be like, wait, I want to draw today. That is a goal that I have for today, and it will make me feel so good if I can do that. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to be able to do that, instead of, I can't draw because I have a full-time job. I have no time. Oh my god, I have no time because I'm like, I work, and I'm tired when I get home from work. Like, instead of being like that, I can draw, and I can create, and I can be myself. You can never get more than what you already have is another thing. Dude, this is crazy. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the back. You can never get more than what you already have. But the thing is that you can have it all in any moment in time by being yourself, being grateful, feeling abundant. Those things come from within you by just recognizing the ways that we've been attached to anything and everything, anxiously attached to anything and everything, and instead attaching to ourselves, how we really feel, who we really are. The actions of others and the feelings of others and the way that they treat us kind of becomes this obsolete. It's like, I just witnessed the fact that you just yelled at me. I breathed into my heart in that moment, and I was like, that's not me, that is them, and that's okay, and I forgive them already because it's not me, and I don't want you in my life. I'm gonna do my best to put boundaries up or put walls up in front of you. That doesn't mean I'm gonna be mean to you or try to get back at you, but I'm probably gonna hang out with you less. That's it. That is all the power that you have, and take it back. Basically, that is just detaching from the person. Like, yesterday at work, it was really stressful, and my coworker was kind of like, Jenna, like, kind of yelled at me, but we're in the same position, and normally I would be really hurt by that. Like, I would be like, why did you yell at me? And it would bother me the rest of the day, right? But I kind of just realized that, why am I attaching myself to my coworker and our relationship and how our relationship goes? What is the point in doing that? Why don't I instead attach to who I really am, be nice to her still, not feel like I have to get back at her for it, just recognize that maybe this person isn't someone I want to be hanging out with all the time. And she never really was, but I'm just saying, like, all I have to do is recognize that I have power in that situation. Even if she is the one yelling at me, I'm not a victim in that. I did do something that bothered her and she felt the need to yell at me, but I'm not a victim in the sense where all I have to do is witness that person existing, forgive them, be nice to them, but don't give them power over me, and to a point where, like, they would make my emotions stormy, make me emotional, constantly in motion, in the emo way. What I was saying was, you can't have more than what you already have. So when you are abundant already, you know, despite what's going on around you, if you don't like your environment that you're in currently, what is something you do like about it, and focusing on that, then you're abundant, and then abundance comes to you. If you recognize the successes that you've had in art already, look at how skilled you are. Look at the things that you've learned in the past year. Look at the shows that you might have had. Look at the shows that you've gone to. Or look at all the people in your community that you've met that also do art. Recognizing the successes you've already had, instead of being in the state of, I'm not a full-time artist, so therefore I'm not an artist, I need more appreciation and then I will be an artist. This kind of mindset is never ending, it's constant. And once you recognize that, then you realize you're already successful in many ways, and then success comes to you because you're acting successful. And it's not faking it till you make it. It's just recognizing the things that you already have, and then they come forth to you once you recognize them, truly recognize them, not faking the recognition and being like, oh, I'm so successful, I have so much money, and everyone loves me, and like thinking that and like being delusional in that. Just recognizing the people that do. Even if you get 5 likes, that's 5 people that took the time to care. You know what I mean? And just kind of seeing that as a more beautiful, wonderful thing, instead of position of scarcity, where you're fearful of all the people that didn't. If you get 800 views on your TikTok, you could think to yourself, wow, I didn't get 1 million views. Or you could think, I got 800 views. How cute is that? How amazing is that? 800 people watched my video. All that has to be done is doing your inner work, centering in yourself, not putting an emotional roller coaster on everything and anything because someone has a better body, because someone has more followers, because someone wants your mate, because someone says this, because someone said that, because someone did this. That's just stuff. And when you recognize that all is possible for you, that just becomes, you just see it as such a small distraction. Someone screaming in class when you're trying to focus on the teacher. That's all that it is. It's just a distraction, and all the people that are making you feel that off-centered way are simply distractors, and that's all that they are, and that's all they ever will be, because you have all your power, and that isn't you. You are you, and being centered in yourself, breathing into your heart now, recognizing that you're good enough already. That's all that you need to do. And it's easier than it sounds. It's really a lot easier than it sounds. It's just doing it. It's just feeling the way. And yeah, it sounds crazy. I know for someone who's in like a very depressive state, that sounds annoying, and I get that, and I recognize that, and I'm not trying to make anyone feel small. I'm just trying to show you that no matter how awful you think your life is, or you imagine that your life is, you could always imagine that it's amazing, and you could also imagine and think that it's good in the ways that you know that it is. Just practicing that satisfaction in yourself, being self-satisfied, it's a practice. It doesn't just happen once and then it's done, and then you're done, and then you're so good all the time. It happens every day. It's a practice. You have to put it into your life. It has to be something that you master. Similarly to an art practice, you have to draw semi-frequently for you to improve. That's the same thing with like how you feel about yourself. Basically just be willing to go to the place where very few people go, the inner. And I don't know, the fact that you're even watching this video and you made it this far just shows me you're already doing that. So attach to yourself, attach to who you are. And when someone tries to take you away from that center of you, be like, I don't like this person, or maybe I want to hang out with them less because they just made me feel emotional and took me away from this center. And that attachment to them goes away because we're attached to ourselves. You're detaching from this person because attachment to them creates suffering. If you look at all of the pain and suffering and problems and heartache that you have in your life, it is always because of your attachments. You're attached to something outside of yourself. You're attached to that, so then you feel suffering. That's what suffering is attachment. Attachment to the self instead creates pleasure of the soul, because it's who you are. A lot of the videos that I have watched, or like the texts I have read in the past about detachment, I have always been like, yes, okay, I get it. Detach from the person. That's all great, but I am so attached that just sounds like I logically understand why detachment would benefit me, and I want to, but I can't because it's too late. I'm already attached, and how do I detach? Like, I'm so used to attaching that how do I just simply, okay, let it go? That's all, like, let it go? How? That is because we cannot detach from anything without attaching ourselves to something else. So that's why I'm telling you to instead attach to yourself because that gives it a replacement. You have like a replacement behavior, a replacement thing to do when you're feeling triggered like that. Be like, oh wait, instead me. Because our nature is to be attached. Everyone is attached to something. Our nature as human beings is attachment. And that's because we're attached to the divinity that we all hold, the consciousness that we all have. That gives us attachment to the overall like divinity of life, the part and parcel that we are of the divine. That's what we're attached to. So we seek out community. We're community beings. We seek out all of these different things that basically just make us feel attached to that divine. When people are lost, and when people are depressed, when people are in a state of suffering, they tend to attach themselves to one single person, or one single situation, or their parents that didn't do right by them. The world puts a lot of stock on who your parents are and how important this is for the rest of your life, and your childhood is like this thing that you have to work through. But really, it's just an attachment. It's just another attachment to something outside of yourself. And they attach to that one person or that one small group of people. But in reality, we're attached to everything in regards to the divinity of everything. Not everything in a superficial way, not anxiously attached to anything and everything, but instead attached to the divinity that we hold within ourselves, because we are divine, we are love, and we are life. That's what we're attached to, and that's what everyone has. Sometimes we seek it out in the outside way. Maybe this person will make me feel good enough, maybe this person will make me feel deserving of love and all of this, but being attached to instead who you are, and then everywhere you go, you will have a good time. You will feel joy. You will forgive people for their mistakes by you, and you will love everyone. You'll be bringing joy, beauty, love, harmony, inspiration everywhere that you go, because that's who you are. And when we're attached to who we are, that's what we do. Because that's what we bring forth, because that's who we are. What if instead of being attached to everybody else, what if instead of being anxiously attached to anything and everything, we are attached to being ourselves? We are attached to trusting ourselves. What would happen? What would happen? I do wonder. Any human being, a real human being, is truly divine because we are compassionate, we love, and we are generous at the truth of who we are. We are compassionate, loving, and generous. Expressing our divinity through all that we do will bring the same thing forth in our lives. We will love where we live. We will recognize how beautiful everything is around us and take everything in as something that we want to see more of. Take a look at your attachments and recognize that this is where all your suffering is coming from, where all your pain is, where all your ignorance of yourself is. It's just simply your attachments. Do you want to be constantly in this state of fear and anxiety and pain and suffering and loss of future happiness that's running most people on earth? Or would you rather be in nature, be yourself, create your art, do what you love, living your life more than you are analyzing your life? If you take these words into practice, you really will start to notice where you suffer in life and what you're attached to and what you're promoting and what you're protecting that basically isn't you. Instead of being anxiously attached to anything and everything, get attached instead to who you are, because you are attached to that divine that we all are attached to. You are as well, because you are part and parcel of the divine, and you are whole, complete, and perfect as you are, and you are everything and more, and you already are enough. You're already a successful artist. You have it all. Thank you for watching. I love you. Subscribe, like, comment. I appreciate it. It really helps me out, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.